October 6, 1941, near Mtsensk, 200 kilometers southwest of Moscow. A thick mist clings to the broken fields. The once confident 4th Panzer Division now crawls forward through rain and mud. Engines growl and sputter as German tanks struggle up the incline of a battered road. Lieutenant Karl Weiss wipes condensation from his periscope and scans the tree line. Nothing. Just silence. The kind that makes every man in... Then it comes. A deep, thunderous boom shakes. "Where the hell did that come from?" Weiss shouts. His gunner swings the turret, firing an armor-piercing round into the trees. The shell strikes, but the smoke clears to reveal the impossible. A dark green silhouette, low and menacing, with armor glinting like wet stone. The T-34. German shells ricochet harmlessly off its sloped hull. Another Panzer III tries to flank it, firing 3 times before the T-34's turret snaps around and returns a single, precise shot. The German tank explodes in a shower of orange flame. Over the radio, panicked voices fill the air. "Our rounds are useless! Run! They're too..." Weiss stares in disbelief as 5 of these green beasts emerge from the fog, moving like predators. The Germans had expected another chaotic Soviet retreat. Instead, they've stumbled into a counterattack led by Colonel Dmitry Lavrenenko, one of the most skilled Soviet tank commanders. Lavrenenko's T-34s slam into the German lines. In the fog, chaos reigns supreme. For hours, the battle rages on. At the end of the day, the Germans had to retreat, leaving behind burning tanks and shattered confidence. Weiss survived, but he would never forget the first time he saw the T-34. We laughed at their tanks. Today, they laughed at us.
June 22, 1941. Eastern Front, near the border of Soviet Belarus. The morning sky burns with the orange glow of thousands of fires. Across endless fields, the rumble of engines merges into a single metallic growl. Operation Barbarossa has begun. Columns of German panzers roll eastward, confident, unstoppable. Among the crew of a Panzer III, Lieutenant Karl Weiss leans from his hatch, binoculars glinting in the dawn light. "Look at them," he laughs, nodding toward the horizon where smoke pillars mark Soviet positions. "Those rust buckets can't even start their engines without prayer." His crew chuckles. The Red Army, they believe, is hopelessly backward, its tanks obsolete, its soldiers untrained. For weeks, this confidence feels justified. German units tear through Soviet defenses like paper, capturing cities at a staggering pace. The propaganda back home calls it der Blitzkrieg des Ostens, the lightning war of the East. But the first signs of trouble come near the small village of Mtsensk. Panzer columns advancing through muddy terrain report that their shells are bouncing off unknown enemy armor. Commanders dismiss it as an exaggeration until reconnaissance planes confirm the sighting. A new tank, unfamiliar, angular, painted in dull green. Its turret turns smoothly. Its sloped armor deflects 37 mm and even 50 mm rounds. Its wide treads glide over the mud where German tanks sink and stall. The name filters through radio chatter like a whisper that chills the heart of every Panzer crewman. T-34.
October 10, 1941.
German Army Group's Center Headquarters. The atmosphere inside the operations tent is thick with cigarette smoke and disbelief. Maps of the Eastern Front cover the walls, dotted with red pins marking Soviet resistance points. But today, it's the reports, not the maps, that have frozen the officers into silence. Colonel Heinz Bulgarian, commander of the 2nd Panzer Group, holds a crumpled fuel report in his hands. The words blur him. Enemy tank designated T-34 exhibits superior armament and mobility. He reads it again, jaw tightening. Around him, staff officers whispered in disbelief. It must be propaganda. One mutters, the Soviets are using outdated tanks. But Guderian knows better. The frontline commanders are no men prone to exaggeration. The names in the reports, Lavrinenko, Katukov, Rybalko, keep repeating. These Soviet tankers are rewriting the rules of armored warfare. Gentlemen, Guderian finally says, setting the paper down, if these reports are accurate, we are fighting a new kind of enemy, and with a tank that can destroy us. The room falls silent. Outside, the rumble of trucks and artillery echoes through the night. The once invincible Panzer divisions, designed for speed and shock, are now struggling in deep mud, freezing rain, and endless forests, while the T-34 glides effortlessly through them. German engineers are summoned to study captured wrecks. They crawl around the burned remains of a T-34 near Vyazma, measuring armor angles, analyzing its diesel engine, and whispering in awe. Its design is brutally simple, yet terrifyingly effective. Sloped armor that deflects shells, wide tracks that counter mud, and a 76.2mm gun that pierces German armor like butter. Winter, December 2nd, 1941. Outside Moscow. Snow falls thick over the frozen wasteland. The once mighty German blitzkrieg has ground to a halt. Engines seize in the cold, machine oil turns to sludge, and men freeze where they stand. The offensive that was supposed to crush the Soviet Union in weeks has become a nightmare. Lieutenant Karl Weiss sits in his Panzer III, breath-forming clouds in the freezing air. The tank won't start. The fuel is too thick, the batteries too weak. Around him, half the company huddles in makeshift fires, their uniforms drenched with snow. Then, through the blizzard, the rumble begins. At first, faint, then closer, heavier. Weiss peers into the snowstorm, squinting through his binoculars. His heart sinks. T-34s. The Soviet tanks roll forward like phantoms, engines roaring, tracks cutting through the ice with effortless strength. Their diesel motors never fail in the cold. Their crews, wrapped in padded Schnells, are energetic and ready to fight. Artillery flashes in the distance as the German line erupts in chaos. Panzers that can't move become steel coffins. The T-34s crash through frozen defenses, firing point blank, their shells ripping into stalled tanks. Weiss watches one of his comrades' tanks take a direct hit. The turret explodes skyward in a fireball. He scrambles out of his own vehicle, diving into the snow as rounds whistle overhead. The once proud Panzer divisions are no longer hunters, they are prey. Far behind the front, German engineers and officers finally admit what the soldiers already know. The T-34 is not just equal to the German Panzers, it's superior. In Modernov, the losses in the winter are incalculable. As Weiss trudges toward the gathering point, he sees horrible scenes. He sees an army of ghosts, ghosts of his brothers, ghosts of themselves. He sees ghosts of his hopes. The sale of spirit is what remains to the Soviet Red Army. He sees despair. He sees hunger. Then they hear a voice behind them. We will win. The winter.
Spring 1943, Kursk. The earth trembles beneath 1,000 engines. Across the endless plains near the city of Kursk, the largest armored clash in human history is about to begin. German officers call it Operation Citadel. Among the ranks, Lieutenant Karl Weiss, now a battle-scarred veteran, stands beside his new machine, the Panther tank. Sleek, powerful, and heavily armored, it is Germany's long-awaited answer to the Soviet menace. He runs his hand along its turret and murmurs, "This time, we're doing the taking." But the Soviets are ready too.